So now we move on to public comments, and we are very, very popular, ladies and gentlemen. We've got this thick of a number of comments, so I will read until I get hoarse. So we will start. Jennifer Anderson states, we can end the ICE contract anytime we want with 30 days notice and is beyond time to do so. The proponents point to the money the contract brings in at $95 per day per person. I would be interested in seeing how much of this is actually profit. We are required to pay for medical care, medicine, food, upkeep, and maintenance for use of facilities and transport. We also pay for the employee hours it takes to supervise, serve, and do paperwork for these additional people within the federal system. It appears the contract is down from 200 beds to 40 beds. If this program at one time generated a greater profit, it appears it is now on a smaller scale. Is it worth all the hours and effort for minor amounts of money? If we had to handle any lawsuits associated with these cases, what would be the potential fees associated with a lawsuit against the profits that are generated? This doesn't even begin to challenge the moral position of the contract with ICE. I understand the fear of safety and the idea of consequences. This is one of those choices that feels safer and more cost-effective, but with research, it doesn't actually work that way. Jenny Andreessen. The next one's from Morgan Burkle, Crystal Lake residents. I have lived in McHenry County my whole life. I am now raising my children here. I was repulsed to find out that our county has a contract with ICE and participates in detaining immigrants. No human being is illegal, and it is shameful that we have this type of detention center in our county. I will be here in McHenry County for decades to come, and I show up to vote. Please show me that you care enough to stop participating in this crime against humanity and make it your priority to end this contract now. Morgan Burkle, Crystal Lake. This is from Vincent Cassio. Dear McHenry County Board, as a McHenry County resident, I am demanding that you end the contract with ICE. ICE is not the organization it claims to be. It has turned to extremist rhetoric and fear-inducing practices. None of this makes the community feel safe. I grew up in Crystal Lake, and as a proud Mexican-American, I was often bullied by my peers because of how different I looked. I was often the only representation of color and culture in my class full of Caucasian students. Threats of deportation, violence, and discrimination of my race and sexual orientation was what I encountered growing up in District 47 and 155 school systems. ICE perpetuates violence, racism, and discrimination. As a mental health therapist within the community, I see how the existence and community collaboration with ICE can significantly impact the mental health of students and families. Rates of depression, anxiety, and trauma increase when certain communities are directly being targeted regardless of citizenship. If you want to make the citizens in McHenry County safe, invest in programs that promote equity and inclusion, embrace different cultures, and demand our police departments engage in community outreach initiatives and become transparent with their policies. ICE should not have a home in McHenry County. Do the right thing, cancel that contract, and invest in the community. Vincent Cassio. This is from Roger Frazier. Thank you for allowing me to address the board. The presence of an immigrant detention center in McHenry County is a stain on the reputation of this community. The unsavory, brutal history of these facilities on the Mexican-U.S. border with substantiated claims of casual abuse, physical violence, including rape, coerced sterilizations, and children separated from parents should alert county leaders that, with no local oversight, the same conditions could happen here. The point of such centers is to incarcerate individuals while their immigrant status is adjudicated. But why incarcerate men whose only allegedly criminal act was to cross a border illegally in search of a better, safer, and more remunerative life? The false and racist assumption that these men, if not detained and jailed, are desperate and dangerous thugs who might otherwise flee. The opposite, however, is true. The men held in this facility have established roots in the U.S. communities they live in. They are neither a threat to flee nor are they dangerous. In fact, most of them are making valuable contributions to their communities as fathers, husbands, and hardworking employees who pay taxes and spend money making small businesses thrive and grow. This is precisely the reason that President-elect Biden recently announced that after January 20th, he will introduce to the Congress a bill for a fair and humane path to citizenship for the 11 million illegal immigrants in this country. This bill will apply to men currently incarcerated in the facility under discussion. I therefore respectfully urge the McHenry County Board to cancel the contract for this immigrant detention center. Roger Frazier, Rolling Meadows, Illinois. Next one is Emily Froley from Woodstock. My name is Emily Froley. Thank you for the opportunity to communicate via email. I am writing to request the county end its contract with ICE. Immigrant detention centers have a record of abuse, neglect, and inhuman conditions. If we continue the partnership with ICE, we risk costly lawsuits, and the moral cost of human rights violations will be even greater. Let's learn from history and end the contract before we find ourselves in the history books besides the likes Japanese internment camps. Let's be in the right side of history. Emily Froley, Woodstock, Illinois. This next one is from Fatima Gomez. I would like to start by thanking all of you for taking the time to listen to our concerns. I'm writing to you today because we must terminate the contract between McHenry County and ICE. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Marion Central. I am now a junior in college working toward my bachelor's degree in social work. I grew up in Woodstock, and this town has always been a safe and welcoming community. The only thing that sets me apart from others is that I am the daughter of immigrant parents. I know what it's like to drive to the store and fear that I might not come back home with them. I remember fearing the police because they could separate us at any time. My parents went over a deportation plan at the age of 6 just in case something were to happen. I grew up wondering why life was so unfair. My parents are humble and hardworking. They spend very long, tiring hours working to provide and give me an opportunity to pursue my education and live in a safe town. I have a soft spot for any immigrant family that comes in the United States because it's not easy to get rid of the fear and to handle the judgment and hate that comes with being different. As I grew up, I realized that being different was okay and that diversity is what makes the United States great. I was born in the United States, so I will never know what it feels like to be scared of deportation. I just know how I felt about losing my parents. As a future social worker, it's my job to protect those who are most vulnerable, the children. If we continue to keep ICE in McHenry County, we are no longer keeping them safe. We are instilling fear and hate. No child should have to live the trauma of being separated from their family. I beg you and pray that you will keep the children of McHenry County safe by starting with protecting families and terminating the contract with ICE. I will continue fighting and advocating for immigrants and undocumented children because they deserve to be in this country as much as I do. Next one is from Joseph Hall. As a member of this community for the past 28 years, I do not agree with the continued ICE contract. I urge you to dissolve the contract. I appreciate your time and consideration. This next one is from John Kokoris. To my friends on the McHenry County Board, it is unconscionable that you might tear apart my neighbors' families to pad the county's bottom line. McHenry County has so much to offer, so many opportunities for growth. We do not need to profit off the human misery inflicted by our broken immigration system in order to balance our budgets. In a just world, the Americans ICE detains would have been given a chance to become citizens long ago. Every human being who calls America home should have the same rights, should be able to see their daughter grow up, should be able to walk down the street, support local businesses, attend local schools without the fear that they will be kidnapped by federal agents and shipped away. The McHenry County I know is proud of its family values, small government tradition, and promising future. Do not trade this away to make a few dollars and ruin thousands of lives. The next is from Sherry Liskey. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to address the board. First, I would like to express my condolences to the board members, friends, and family on the passing of Chuck Wheeler. May he rest in peace. Tonight, I would like to urge the board to cancel the contract with ICE when it comes before you for a vote. The evil of the program has been presented to you on numerous occasions over the years since the contract was signed. It may seem as though only a few people have embarked on the campaign, but there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people here in McHenry County and the Fox Valley who oppose the tactics of ICE and the operation of this facility. There are viable alternative revenue streams that can replace the lost profit. When presented, they may be seen as severe, but with sound fiscal management, there will be a seamless transition. Lastly, for tonight, as can be seen in the sheriff's report, the facility is being used as a transfer station. This is abusive. ICE moves people around in the different facilities without warning so that their families do not know where they are. This further destabilizes families and causes more trauma. You will soon have the opportunity to shut down this relay station of misery. Stand up against these tactics, uplift immigrants, cancel the contract. Thank you, Sherry Liskey. This next one is from Sarah Russo. Please put an end to the ICE contract that is in place. This should not be what McHenry County stands for or co-signs with. Lives over dollars, always and without question. Children are watching. We have to show them that love and acceptance will always prevail. Help us to show them that. I trust McHenry County can begin to pave the way by making a different decision, a helping hand versus a punishing hand, and find a way to put more of an effort, more manpower even, into assisting these people or families in gaining their citizenship, securing employment, and helping our amazing county thrive in diversity and acceptance. Please, I ask you to place lives over dollars, as the Statue of Liberty does not say RSVP, but instead she herself holds the literal light at the end of the tunnel. The world needs a little help and compassion right now, the whole world, not just some of it. Thank you for taking a moment to read and for taking public comments for this meeting. Be safe and stay well. Sarah Russo. Next. This is from Alexis Sanchez, and there's a note, please disregard the previous email comment I sent by me. I actually sent my original draft rather than my revised version, so I think this is the right one. Okay. Good evening, McHenry County board members. My name is Alexis Sanchez. I'm currently a junior in Woodstock High School. I am a member of the McHenry County 4-H, as well as the Key Club and Student Council. I am bilingual and an AP honor student. My cumulative GPA is around 3.6, and my GPA for the current semester is 4.3. Some of my hobbies include singing and tennis, as well as painting, baking, and activism. While these minute things that contribute to who I am as a person seem fairly insignificant, I am a firm believer that context and transparency are crucial to a person, their identity, and everything that they contribute to our communities. I am writing to you on behalf of the 500 and counting children that have been separated from their families at our southern border at the hands of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and have not yet been reconnected with their families. How many of you have children? I'm sure many. We all want what we believe is best for our loved ones, whether it be our own children or simply a close friend. I am aware that there are many different views surrounding America's immigration system, as well as I am aware that many of your opinions are unique to yourself. But I would like to address this in a hopefully unbiased and logical standpoint. An estimated 2,000 children in our country go missing every single day. That accumulates to approximately 740,000 a year, courtesy of the organizations Global Missing Kids and Child Find of America. Personally, that is a staggering amount. I cannot imagine the grief these families are experiencing. In police departments across the country, when a kid is reported missing, they treat it as an abduction. Many people involved work tirelessly to get kids home safe and unharmed. While this may seem a bit off topic, I would argue otherwise. We should be working equally as hard to reconnect the families and children separated by ICE. We see our country as one of strength, unity, power, and one of dreams. I think I'm going to run out of 3 minutes on this. We give me the timer. However, like every county, we have our flaws, and it is utmost importance to acknowledge them. For the sake of our country, we must strive to be better. One of our greatest faults, I believe, is how we treat those that come to our country in hopes of achieving a life better than they could ever dream. We should feel flattered by how many people hope of one day being able to live in a country like ours. Sadly, I've come to learn many individuals in this country do not have that thought process. I strongly believe that immigrants must be treated with respect, just like any other native-born citizen. There's a little bit more, but I think we're out of time on that. Thank you. This is from Larry Spaeth. Dear McHenry County Board, it is a moral imperative to cancel the ICE contract and eliminate our relationship with ICE. The citizens of McHenry should not balance their county budget on the trafficking of immigrants suffering. It's time to stand up and do the right thing. Larry Spaeth. This is from Jenny Sanchez. Dear McHenry County Board, I am a McHenry County resident and have lived within the county for the last 18 years while residing in Woodstock for the past 13 of those years. By profession, I'm an elementary teacher within the county. I have worked within the educational field for 22 years and have earned 2 graduate degrees in the field, including 1 in educational leadership. I feel that my education and experience has given me the background and knowledge to comment on the effects of ICE detention centers on children and families. I am writing to ask the board to dissolve its contract with ICE. As the end of October, over 500 children have been identified as being separated from their families with little hope of reconciliation. There may be more that haven't been uncovered thus far. That is the size of the elementary school at which I teach. That is 500 families that are in constant worry and despair over not knowing whether their child is healthy, being fed and clothed, or even if they are alive, yet alone, if they are happy and loved. 500 may not seem like a large number in relation to the size of the country. However, to the families of those 500 children, it seems like a million. As a parent and human being, I cannot fathom how it is acceptable to house human beings as if they are animals or worse and separate them from their families. The effects of the separation of parents and children are irreparable. These families are suffering immense psychological and emotional harm. Some of the negative effects include anguish, despair, guilt, stress, anxiety, fear, and depression. Research has shown that long-term effects from these negative emotions can lead to increased risk of heart disease, alcohol and drug addiction, suicidal thoughts, and shortened life expectancies. These children are having their lives forever altered for the worse. As human beings, this is horrific and inhuman. To purposely ensure a child's life will forever feel the negative effects of forced family separation that is occurring at ICE detention centers. In order to maintain the dignity of McHenry County and to ensure the safety and future of all children, the contract with the ICE needs to be dissolved. Thanks for the opportunity to address my concerns. Thank you, Jenny Sanchez. How much time is that? Okay. Need a shorter one. This is from Nicole Wiskerna. I'm writing in regard to the proposed contract between McHenry County Jail and the U.S. Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement ICE agency. ICE is currently under investigation for human rights abuses so horrific that they echo the horrors of some of the darkest times in history. Here are some stunning headlines to back this up. ICE is facing allegations that women detained at one of the agency's facilities in Osceola, Georgia, underwent unnecessary gynecological procedures, including hysterectomies. Parents of 545 children separated at the border could not be found. About 60 of the children were under the age of 5 when they were separated. The Intercept found that there were 1,224 complaints of sexual abuse filed between 2010 and 2017, revealing a staggering pattern of abuse in immigration detention facilities. These are just 3 incredibly disturbing examples of an agency that has proven over and over that it is not a good faith steward of the public interest or humanity in general, for that matter. Awarding this contract to ICE legitimizes and empowers an agency riddled with history of gross misconduct, despite having only been in existence for 17 years. If the board is not weighing the ethical side of this matter, it is complicit with the agency's many atrocities. When the next ICE headlines run across our front pages, I hope it's not a human rights violation at the hand of this abusive agency here in McHenry County. The only way to guarantee that doesn't happen is to discontinue the jail's contract with ICE. Thank you for your consideration, Nicole Wiskerna. I'm going to sit down. The next one is my name is Natasha Tietzoff. I'm a resident of Crystal Lake, educator, parent, and member of activists for racial equity in Crystal Lake and surrounding communities. With nearly 900 members, our champions anti-racist activism. Anti-racist activism centers and amplifies the voices of our BIPOC community, which stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color, dismantles systemic racism to uproot oppression of marginalized communities, and values lifelong learning to extinguish white supremacy. I'm here today to advocate for transparency for taxpayers in McHenry County. I'm sure no one here today thought you'd be in office during a global pandemic impacting you and every constituent you serve in a variety of incredibly challenging ways. This pandemic has made your jobs exponentially more difficult, to say the least. However, you have continued to serve our county. Know that we do recognize and appreciate your efforts at these unprecedented times. There's important work to be done, and I thank you for your continuing to move forward. The ICE contract in McHenry County denies human dignity to numerous residents and their families in our community. But if that is not a sufficient enough incentive to end the contract, negative financial implications and the commitment to fiscal responsibility should be motivating factors. I ask that you please finalize the profit and loss analysis of the contract and then disclose the impact terminating the contract would have on the county. As with all business operations, you need to provide transparency to your stakeholders so we know where our money is going. We also need to be prepared for what would happen if ICE chose to end the contract abruptly, or if the county experienced any damaging lawsuits tied to the facility. If you find the contract is profitable, I challenge you to find alternatives to replace those funds for the good of the community made clearer by completing the financial analysis of the contract. Profiting from policies that marginalize and oppress others is morally unacceptable, and they do not mirror your values nor the values of those you represent. I look forward to seeing the work the board will accomplish in the upcoming year, and I hope those future months bring a more hopeful environment to do work as we learn more about COVID-19 and how to come together as one community to help keep each other safe. Thank you very much for your time. Okay. Then I've got there's 4 attached, and I think they were translated with Google. So I'll try to do my best on this. This one says, to whom it may concern. We are aware of the contract between ICE and Woodstock. We know that there is facility in Woodstock for ICE. I hope you understand how that affects the community of immigrants in the county. We live on fear for all these years. When we need help from the police, we don't feel comfortable calling for fear of getting deported. So these leads to often types of abuse on our families. I work as a CNA on a nursing home. The residents depend on us on their daily needs. And I wonder, when are they going to show up? We are here to help, to work hard, make a living for our families, working several hours a day, up to 16 sometimes. When I want to go out, I wonder if I'm going to get in trouble just for being on the wrong spot at the wrong moment. I pay my taxes. I behave as resident of the community, following the rules. Sometimes, or many times, I think of buying a house, but how about life? I get deported, so I saved as much as I can. But the effect of the economy, too. A lot of the immigrants send their money to Mexico. ICE breaks our families. Please help us. We are good people, just helping to get money for our families. We really appreciate the opportunity to work. Thanks a lot for all the good stuff, but removing ICE from Woodstock, it will bring a lot of people peace of mind and happiness to our family. God bless you. That's anonymous. Then there was a letter from an undocumented immigrant living in McHenry County. This one is going to run past the 3 minutes. This is 2 full pages, single spaced. So I'll get as much of it as I can. Hello. First of all, I'd like to apologize for not having the courage to speak with my own voice, and I have to clarify that, yes, I am writing this from anonymity, but it's not because I fear you as board members or authority, because I personally do not know any one of you, and I should not assume that you hate me or have something against me because of the fact that I am here undocumented. Do not get me wrong, I'm afraid, but I'm afraid because I can feel some animosity in the streets against me. I'm afraid because I've been here for many years and I could be deported and separated from my family just for a traffic violation. I'm afraid because the president has said that we are bad hombres and rapists and not the best. But truth is, I'm afraid because people judge me without knowing me. They say we come here to take the jobs of citizens, but the truth is, in my line of work, cook, I have never seen a citizen apply for a position. They have many more opportunities out there for them, and yes, this is their birthright as tax-paying citizens. Here is where it gets confusing for me. I am undocumented, and people often say you are not a tax-paying citizen. It is truth that I am not a citizen nor a resident, so I do not get any of the benefits that entails, like Social Security, unemployment benefits, public programs, access to financing, stimulus checks, and many more things. I repeat, I am not a citizen, but I have paid taxes every year since I got here, and so have most of the people I know that are here undocumented. And I don't mean paying VAT when we make purchases. Everyone pays that. I mean paying a big percentage of my yearly income in taxes to the government, local, state, and federal, through something called an ITN number. You know, a number that is like a Social Security when it comes to fiscal responsibility, but none of the benefits. So when someone tells me I do not pay taxes, I have 25 years worth of tax records to prove them wrong. Some people might say, well, that is what you get when you don't come here legally. But truth is, there is no legal way to come here. Not for an uneducated poor person like myself, especially coming from my country of Mexico. I heard the term chain migration the other day, and someone explained that it refers to family members petitioning for green cards. That is not an option for a person from my country. A family petition can take more than 20 years. I would spend all my youth and energy waiting for a status in the same poverty and lack of chances. But I do not have anyone to petition for me, so that is out of the question. So no, there is no legal way for most people to come. I had to leave my country because there was just not enough opportunities. And yes, I love my country and miss my country, but I know that my children would have been destined to the same poverty and lack of access to proper education and opportunities as I experienced there growing up. So no, I do not regret leaving. I have seen friends and family get deported over the years, and I have heard when ICE officers justify their actions, saying they committed a crime. Well, here are the alleged crimes of the 3 people I know have been deported. Sorry, we're out of time. We'll put this into the record on that one. All right. And we're also up against our 30-minute time frame for public comment. So with your indulgence, there's about 5 more. If I can go over the 30 minutes, I will do that, but I won't go over 3 per. The next one was translated with Google, and it's from Anonymous. Good afternoon, McHenry County officials. Allow me to write this to communicate the case of a family of friends who want to maintain their anonymity, but their story must be told. This family consisting of 3 children, father and mother. They immigrated to the United States around 2002. Like any young man in their 20s, sons and daughters went out to make a living. One of them is a painter. He is dedicated to the plastic arts. One night, the painter was stopped by the police for a traffic violation, and how he felt threatened by the arrogant intimidation of the officer, because it was not the first time they stopped him, and he did not know the system. He did not really know what to do. They took him under arrest to the police station. The police department somehow managed to connect with ICE, and they took him into custody to begin his deportation process. He was detained for a time that those mentioned here do not want to reveal, and the process was devastating for everyone, family and friends alike. Apart from being here so far from his Latin American country with very few family and friends, this tragedy of family separation falls. This friend was deported and unable to grow up with his siblings or hang out with his immediate family. Can you imagine that because of a traffic violation, they send you away from the people you love and who gave birth to you? This happens more often than we want to admit, and it is inadmissible. The ICE contract has to stop because it's cruel. We are not symbols of money. We are human lives that deserve respect and dignity for fighting to have a better life. Blessings I send you so that God enlightens your hearts and minds to understand that violation of human rights of immigrants do not play a role. Excuse me that this letter is in Spanish, but it is my language, and I understand that, like me, there are many more people in McHenry County and its surroundings who do not speak English. That does not mean that our stories do not count. It means that as government officials who serve the people, they must include our Spanish-speaking population in the conversation. Sincerely, Anonymous. This one was also translated via Google. To whom it may concern, the one that subscribes communicates in this way that in August 2012, they gave me a notice that my brother had been detained by immigrant agents. So I moved to investigate what happened, and it was 2 weeks of anguish for me. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, and I had a severe headache. I went to the doctor, and he gave me a tranquilizer because at that time I had my 2 11-year-old daughters. And I started to think what would happen if I had been the person arrested, my daughters. All those things make us suffer a lot. I ask you to please, if you help us to feel more calm in this country, where we want to continue staying in order to continue helping our children so that we can continue their studies. I thank you in advance for allowing me to send this letter to you on November 16th, 2020. I close this letter thanking you for this opportunity. The next one is from David Bradburn. My name is David Bradburn. I'm a member of the Activists for Racial Equality for Crystal Lake and the surrounding areas, AR, and I live in Crystal Lake. First, I'd like to say a bit about who R is. R is a local civic engagement group with nearly 900 members who actively work through study and reflection, voting, petitions, letter writing, public speaking, and other forms of direct action to enfranchise and center BIPOC voices within our community, to dismantle the systems of both historically and currently marginalized portions of our community and re-envision systems that are both equitable and inclusive. We believe that this is best done through intentional education and interaction. Before I get into my comments, I want to extend my deepest sympathies to Chuck Wheeler's family and the board for the loss. Although he and I didn't see eye to eye on all things, it's always true that diversity brings the opportunity to find what is best and what needs to be and can be improved. To the board, this has been a trying year in so many unique and particular ways. I commend you for continually keeping the work of the county moving forward. For that and more, I am grateful. My comments today are twofold. First, to encourage the board continue to work with the Sheriff's Department to fulfill the resolution to study the addition of body cameras for the officers of the department so the findings can lead to actionable items executed in a reasonably quick time. Second, to finish the overdue work of profit and loss analysis of the ICE contract and the analysis of where potential revenue loss could be absorbed so that the resolution to end the ICE contract can finally come up for vote before the full council. Then the contract can be terminated. Over the preceding months, arguments about the legal vulnerabilities, the moral implications, the human impact stories, the phone calls, the emails, the letters to the editors, and the like have been a constant call to end the contract. I ask that once the numbers are known, that the Finance Subcommittee vote and send the resolution back before the full board for a vote. There have been too many calls for this profit and loss analysis, as well as a vote on the resolution from board members. There has been too much work paid or otherwise done to bring this forward, and there has been clear and consistent calls from many groups and individuals to end the contract. Let's not let the work of the board and the county employees have been done in vain, and let's not let all the efforts of the boards and its members to have been only lip service. Let us rather move this resolution to the floor for a vote no later than February. Thank you.